we're gonna have some fun today. Tim, I've been using this phrase all year. I'm gonna coin it. Hold on. Hold on. Let me set it up for you. You don't got to tell your age, but remember the Ghostbusters? What's the number one rule on the Ghostbusters? You remember?
Don't cross the beams.
Don't cross the streams. Today we crossing the streams, man. When you cross the streams, some wild stuff happens, man. We're gonna cross the streams. I'm crossing the streams all 2026, working with other great real estate professionals, man. I got some deals going on with some other agents from different brokerages, man, just like networking, man. Crossing the streams is the phrase that I'm going with in 2026, man. So I'm here today with my guy, the OG. Can I call you OG? I don't know. I don't know.
Give it up.
I don't know if OG is fitting, man, but you definitely been in the game longer than me, man. My guy, Tim Lyles from the Fearless Homebuyer. So today we're gonna cross the streams. We're gonna bring the Fearless Homebuyer system, the program, and we're gonna blend it with the Gibson Method, man. And we're gonna tell you exactly. We're gonna simplify the process of buying your first home today. We're gonna simplify the process, man. What's up, Tim? How you doing?
Jerard, how you doing, brother, man? Long time. You know, we've been working together for quite some time. I certainly enjoyed working with you. You know, we had a good time. You know, we made it fun for everybody.
Nah, for sure. And through it all, we always remain connected, man. I love what you're doing. We always hit each other up giving each other tips and stuff, and I'm seeing what you're doing, and I respect the game, brother.
And then I see what you're doing too. You're doing some incredible stuff, you know, even with this podcast thing and this live streaming that you're doing, man. Capabilities, man, crossing it with speaking of crossing beams, you know. I'd be totally impressed by your material.
You going in and out a little bit. It froze up a little bit, but it's all good. We're gonna push through it. So like I said, today we're gonna simplify the process. We hear a lot of the objections, a lot of the, you know, the why nots, the why I can't, the things that are holding most people back. Matter of fact, Tim, let me ask you, what are the things that you feel are holding most people back from buying their first home?
That one more time.
I said, what are some things that you're hearing that are holding most people back from buying their first home?
Oh, it's a number of things. Credit is always a big thing. You know, people don't really understand credit and how credit speaks to them. Another one is rates. Another one is down payment, you know. So there's a lot of things that people think is holding them back from actually purchasing the house. But even if you've been on your job for quite some time, job stability alone will allow you to purchase. Everything else it's just extra, so to speak.
Right. And I know we probably gonna dive into this a little bit more, but you're a mortgage broker, correct?
Yes, that's correct. I'm a mortgage broker. I work with over 100 lenders to find products that fits different people. As you know, in this industry, everyone's situation is not the same. So you have to get creative in the aspect of finding different ways of successfully putting people in houses.
Okay. So what's the difference between a mortgage broker and a direct lender? Like what's the job title? Like what's the difference?
A mortgage broker is a person who facilitates the loan from the client to the lender. We put it together, we get it prepared for them. We get it what they call underwriter credit ready. which means that once the underwriter look at it, and if it's credit worthy, she approve it, and then they'll submit it to the actual, the underwriter normally works for the lender. A direct lender, sometimes they have brokerage capabilities, but they are the ones who can actually fund loans themselves.
Got you. Okay. All right. So, and you just mentioned, how you're able to help people out, but like I see a lot of fear. And I know that fear a lot of time comes from the lack of education. But like, why do you think so many people are afraid, man?
It can be a number of reasons. One, again, I grew up in underserved community. I grew up in the projects. And even my dream growing up in the project was, me and my friend's dream was, we couldn't wait to have our own apartment on the 8th floor of a building. That was the pinnacle for us. So when it was time for us to move beyond that, it became fearful because all we knew was the apartment on the 8th floor. I didn't know that you can have a regular job, and I didn't know you can be quote unquote poor. I don't want to say poor, but just middle class or upper lower class, and you can own a house. I didn't know that until I moved into a different state and I went to people's houses, and I used to ask them how much you pay for rent. And they was like, no, we own this. We have a mortgage and stuff. So it blew me away. So most people, to go beyond what their environment is scary. It's the unknown. A lot of us that come from underserved communities, when we buy houses, it's normally we have graduated from college and we spoke to college mates who have purchased their house. But I can assure you, 95% of the people that come from the community that I come from purchase houses. The first time they purchase a house, it's completely terrorizing. It's the equivalent to like them seeing the boogeyman. So
Right. I have a similar story. I tell this story all the time. I don't know if I ever told you, but I used to drive tractor trailers, and when I was driving trucks, I was making good money. And I'll never forget, I was in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and we were all a bunch of drivers waiting for our loads to get up out of there. So we was talking on the radio on the CB, until they called us for our loads. And I'm talking to this guy. He's like, man, I wish they hurry up, man, because I got to get home. I'm closing on my house tomorrow. And he had to get back to Atlanta. And I'm like, oh, congratulations, you closing on a house? He's like, yeah, it's actually my second one. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. Tim, funny story. He goes, yeah, me and my wife live in a house on one street, and I bought the house behind us, so my ex-wife and my kids could move in, so my kids could share a yard, so they could play together and grow up together. That's a crazy story, but in my mind, I'm like, yo, he's buying two houses. This dude just bought two houses, and we make the same money.
Right. It didn't even exist to you, let alone two houses, one house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like me buying one house, that's unheard of in our community. That's why even like a lot of times when I hear people and I tell them, I work with a lot of people that comes from the underserved community. And I tell them all the time that just because you wasn't taught how to purchase a home, it doesn't mean you can't buy one. And I tell them the same thing I tell my children. A person is not smart from what they know. They're only smart from the questions they ask. So, in our community, a lot of times there's a lot of pride with us. We think that if we ask questions, we're dumb. And that's not it. If we ask the questions, we're empowered if we get the answers. And you just keep asking questions until you have full and complete understanding of what the home buying process means to you. A lot of us don't know what it means to us. We don't know what home ownership means to us. When a lot of times when we talk about home ownership in our community, in their mind, we're talking to them about rent. But the benefits alone that it have when it comes to home ownership is incredulous.
Nah, word. For real. So with the Fearless Homebuyer, what is the Fearless Homebuyer exactly?
The Fearless Homebuyer, what we are is an organization that we teach people how to become homeowners. Just because you purchase your house, it doesn't make you a homeowner. It only makes you a person or couple that purchased the house. you're not actually an official homeowner until you learn that house, until you've been in there for a year or two. That means you have to learn the house, learn what the house act like in the winter time, in the springtime, summer, and fall. You have to know what your bills are going to be every month. These are things you have to learn how to save your money. You have to be disciplined in the things you want. That's the process of becoming a homeowner. That's the evolution of it all. There's so many moving parts to it. So just because you close on a house, it doesn't mean that you're actually, again, it doesn't mean you're actually homeowner. So our organization not only supports the home buyer or the first time home buyer before the process, we support them during the process, and we support them after the process. So we give post-closing information that no other organization out there does. They don't support them from the beginning to the end and after the closing. We're the only ones that do that.
That's fire. You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, I tell my clients once we once we meet, like we're family. Like I got a extremely loyal personality, right? That could be my gift and my curse, but it's like, I don't care what happens. Even if it didn't work out and you didn't get a house, like I'm still available. Like, you know what I mean? I'm always around for my clients, and there is a relationship that goes on after the closing table
Absolutely.
that a lot of people don't realize. Even matter of fact, I just had a closing, and the young lady was like, "Yeah, I know you tired of us, man. So this would be your last time hearing from us." And I'm like, "Yeah, right. What are you talking about?" I'm like, I'm around. You're gonna call me. You better
Right.
call me. Like, and at the very least, I'm gonna call you, once a year, or at the very least to check up on you, and make sure you good. We family.
Yeah.
And I was even talking to, to my guys last night, and when you purchase a home, you gotta build a team. Like you gotta
Yes.
you gotta build this structure around you.
Absolutely.
These individuals. So you need to be cool with your lender. You need to be cool with your attorney. You need to be. I mean, it is business, but still, like you need to be able to tap into all of these people, because everybody. There's a lot of moving parts getting you to the closing table, and everybody has to do their job. It's like a ballet almost, like
Yeah.
poetry in motion. So a lot of things got to happen, and a lot of people got to be on the same page, in order for you to get to the closing table. So rightfully so, you need to be in tune with these people. You can't be afraid to call your attorney. You can't be afraid to call your lender, and you can't be afraid to call your agent. Contractors, I just heard you on the phone with somebody like, "Yo, I got a landscaper coming by the house." Like this thing don't stop.
No, no. And it's amazing you said that. I was just at a client's house today.
Mhm.
They bought they bought from me, I want to say 3, 4 years ago.
Mhm.
But all they did was live in a house. They didn't make any improvements. They didn't do anything. And every house around them had appreciated in value. So when they came to me for the refinance, their house came 150,000 under market. And I was like, I was thinking, man, this is unfair. Why they treating them like this and everything. So I called the client up. I said, "Hey, do you mind if I come and take a look at your house so I can
Mhm.
see why the numbers came in so low?"
Mhm.
He said, "Yes, Tim, come by." I went by there, so I saw so many reasons why the house came in so low. So then I said, "Listen, I'm going to teach you guys how to love your house again. We're going to make it nice and pretty for you. I'm going to have a team of contractors come over here. There's things that they needed, was a roof repair. They had over $250,000 worth of equity in their house, didn't know how to tap into that,
Mm.
was afraid of the payment. And there was so many things that came into them not wanting to fix up the house. And I said, I can assure you, if you fix this house up, you're gonna enjoy it again. Right now, you guys are living in your house and you're not liking it. You're stressed out. I said the best thing you can do is sell it. They go, "We don't want to sell our house." I go, "Well, you got to take a little better care than what you're doing."
Mm.
So as you said, yeah, the relationship does start out at business, but then it evolves into being personal.
Mhm.
And you hate to see people lose their house, especially like I lost my house back in 2006. And I lost my house because I didn't know what I knew now.
Mm.
People didn't ask me to become a loan officer because I knew financial stuff. I didn't know anything.
Mhm.
This guy says, "Listen, you'll make a great loan officer. He came to my job because I was in sales selling furniture. He liked my swag. So I said, okay. I said, don't you got to go to school for that? He was like, no, we train. I said, I'm in. You know what I'm saying? So, yo, when I got in, I was killing it. You know, I love what I do, but guess what? I'm sitting here making all this money, but guess what? I'm still traveling. I'm still partying. I spend my check to zero, and I was comfortable waiting for the next check to spend to zero. So, you know what I'm saying?
Look, as you say, a lot of people suffer from the same disease.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up losing my house. It was hard for me because, I was ashamed.
Yeah.
I was completely ashamed that I had lost my house. My kids was like, when I came to Connecticut, my kids was like, Daddy, where's the house? I was like, it's gone.
Oh, man.
And it was the most hurtful feeling for me in the world. So I'm passionate about when I teach this stuff to people. I can tell them what to do, how to get in, how to successfully get into your house. I tell you, put your strategy together, and there's no cookie cutter pattern. Everybody is different. That's why I do one-on-one consultations. That's why my loan officers do one-on-one consultation. We don't sell to people at the Fearless Homebuyer. We educate them, we empower them, and we make sure that they have full understanding of the process. So when they have that, there's no fear. And I have to go in a lot of times into the psychological part of home ownership with them because they got the physical, but they don't have the mental. What they do have is not allowing them to get in the house. It's not the same thing as going to buy a car. You don't just walk into a lot. You have to put together a strategy. That means that you have to look at your credit. You have to talk to your spouse. You have to see how much money you make. You got to see how much money is leaving your house. You have to put together a full-blown strategy. And we have that strategy on our website and our financial reset sheet, our financial programs. We have so many programs out there that suits everybody. We talk to people about air property. We talk to people about everything because I'm passionate about this, and it's wild because everything we're talking about, we are deficient in those categories, even down to refinancing. Like most of us that bought houses don't even know how to refinance it. In our mind, we think refinancing means starting over. How do you equate refinancing your house with starting over? You ain't even looking at the numbers. You're only thinking about the words that's in your head.
Right. And I'm checking out your website now. Let me see if can I share it? Am I that thorough? I'll work on that. But on your website, thefearlesshomebuyer.com, it looks like you got a course up here.
That's correct.
So what does that course entail? Everything that what you're talking about now?
It goes a little deeper into it because it goes deeper, but it's still simplified. We try not to talk over the people's head. We try to make it for everybody. We're doing very well with it. And it's very helpful. We got people, giving us testimonies. And the course goes into, like, let's say if we talk about something like saving money. Okay. Saving money is simple. A lot of organizations just go, you got to save money. But if a person ain't never learned how to save money, how do you get them to start saving? You can't just say, well, you got to save money in order to get a house. We got to say to them, like, okay, in order for you to save money, what are the things you spend your money on now? Write down the list, because everybody has something they like, whether it's a favorite cookie, a favorite ice cream, a favorite something that they can do without. And we have to learn how to go without that favorite something and put that money into the bank account and act like it don't exist. That's the hardest thing for us. We have to act like the money don't exist because we have great comfort in spending our money to zero and waiting for the next check to spend to zero. So we have to learn how to stop doing that. Now, okay, I just said we have to learn how to stop doing that. What is the step you got to take? Well, stop looking for the chemical that releases in your brain that make it feel good when you spend your money. You see what I'm saying? So this is so deep. We have to feel good when we spend money. That's why people go, I got paid today. I got to go celebrate. No. You celebrate by putting that money in the bank and acting like it don't exist. You still can celebrate. You just don't have to spend any money, or you don't have to spend all of your money to zero.
Right. Right. That's dope, man. That's dope that you take those steps and even go that far, man, for sure. So definitely salute to you.
Yeah. And it ain't easy as I'm making it seem like. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard because guess what? You were never taught this. It's like trying to build a muscle that was never used. It's even harder when you wake up in the morning and the mall is in your living room. It's on your TV, it's on your cell phone, it's on your laptop.
Right.
So it's easy to get that money from you before you even leave your house.
No doubt, man. You said something a minute ago about being strategic. Like, and I got to be honest here. I find that a lot, not all, but a lot of buyers are buying reactively, not proactively. Like people are buying because they have to. You know, my landlord's selling, my lease is up. I can't find an apartment. Like there's not a lot of people that actually plan and take the necessary steps to better prepare for the experience. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like people are buying because they have to. And there's nothing, I don't want to say there's nothing wrong with it. There's a difference for sure, right? The cool thing is we're gonna help them either way. But I wish people would kind of take it seriously. Even your credit, right? It's like, I'll get to it later type of thing. That's exactly what it is. Right. You know it's there, but I'm gonna get to it later. But then something happens, and now we got to be reactive. We got to play defense, right? So now I got to scramble and try to fit, my pieces into this puzzle that may or may not work out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's impulsive. And what we call it is walking the plank. Your landlord made you walk the plank. So you know what I'm saying?
So bad. That is so bad.
So if your landlord make you walk the plank, then yeah, you gotta buy. But let me just tell you what's great about that. Even though you're walking the plank, you still have mustered up the courage to do it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
The only thing they didn't do was prepare. That's why the first thing you want to do, if you have to find yourself what we call, quote unquote, walking the plank, go talk to your loan officer first. Because he's going to give you all the information you need because he wants you to close. He's not getting no money just taking your information. He gets money to close deals. So the first thing you want to do, if you want to do credit repair, go talk to a loan officer. It's free. We can't charge you for that. We look at your credit. We tell you what's going on. Go do it. We tell you what to do because we like to make all of our buyers what they call underwriter credit worthy, not just credit repair. I still have yet for somebody to send me someone who have done a credit repair and have purchased a home. I'm waiting. I have been waiting for years. So if you want to do real credit repair, go talk to a loan officer because it's free.
And that's a great point. And it's like, let me take a step back real quick because I'm gonna tell you the hard truth, people. Shout out to everybody that's listening right now. If you got any questions for Tim or myself, put them in the comments. We can see the comments. We'll read them live. But the hard truth right now in Connecticut, for sure, in this market, property values are up. It's almost a 75% chance your landlord is going to sell at some point. It might not be tomorrow. It might not be next month. It could be next year. You don't know, but your landlord is probably going to sell, right? So by me telling you that, I'm not telling you that to instill fear. I'm telling you that to get yourself ready because it's coming, and you can't get upset about something you don't own. If your landlord decides to make that move, that's on them. But you got to take care of you, right? So I said that to say, if you had $10 million in your bank account and it was time for you to make a move, it's no sweat because you know what you got. you know how much of that you willing to allocate, right? The budget, you got a backup plan already in your head because you got that money in your account, right? Imagine this. I don't have $10 million in my account, but what if I go get a pre-approval from the lender? I might not be ready to buy today, but I got a pre-approval that if I need to pivot, if I need to make a move, it's in my wallet right next to my credit card.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I said that to say, and pre-approvals don't cost no money. Just go get the go, like he said, talk to the lender and go get yourself pre-approved, even if you're not ready. And another thing, and we're gonna get into this home buying process. It's so competitive in Connecticut right now, and to the point where I seriously doubt that you are going to get a pre-approval, go out the next day, get a house under contract, and then close on it 30 days later. It's not going to be that smooth. And I said that to say it's going to be a journey. It's going to be an ongoing process. You're going to go see 100 houses. You're going to write 20 offers, right? Hopefully it's not that much. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but the point is to prepare you that it's going to be an ongoing thing. Like real estate is going to be a way of life once you make that decision on I'm going to purchase a house. You're going to set times with your real estate agent of when you're going to go out. You should be going out at least 2 times a week, once during the week, once on the weekend, because the properties don't stick around.
Right.
They don't stick around. Right. So I got some weekend warriors where it's like, okay, we just want to go out on the weekend, but that property that came on Mondays might be gone by Wednesday, Right. So I think you definitely need, 2 days. It's like going to the gym. You got to make it a way of life. It's not going to be something that just happens overnight. I hope I didn't scare nobody, but that's what it is.
No, you're absolutely right about that. In one of my videos, I told them your first offer might not even get accepted, but don't let it go. Keep moving. Going back to the landlord thing. Now that see, most people, again, just be happy to get the apartment. They don't know. Most landlords, and this is a true fact, you can go look this up if you think I'm lying. They always give the tenant, if the tenant is a model tenant, they give them first option to buy the house, always. People don't even think about that. If you live with that landlord 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and he coming up like, look, I'm selling the house, I'll give you first option. If you've been a model tenant, you paid your rent on time, you didn't make noise, you took care of the apartment, all of that. Most landlords go to the tenant first because that's a guaranteed client. That's a guaranteed sell if they take it. But if you go into the landlord and your rent is late or $20 short, and he see you coming in 2, 3 in the morning and your rent late and you drunk and you just came from the club. They know this kind of stuff. They look at this. So you got to understand that if you haven't been doing that with your landlord and he tell you he's selling, you ain't getting yourself together in 30 days. It's not going to happen. I don't care if you use CHAFA, any down payment assistant in the world out there, you're not going to have yourself together in 30 days. You're not going to get a pre-approval. First of all, it's going to probably take you 2, 3 days to even talk to a landlord. Most people, because they, like you said, because they're doing what we call impulsive buying or impulsive reacting, they go online. They put their social security number in there. Now they're getting 5 million calls from people. Their credit's being pulled 5 million times. They have no control over that. That's one of the downsides, or that's some of the damage that come when you impulsive buy or you're reacting to what you got to do. Now, another kicker, most people, especially in the state of Connecticut, your credit is looked at when you rent. Bottom line, every landlord has the realtor, every apartment complex has somebody that look at your credit. You're not getting in that apartment if you don't qualify. If you don't have at least a 620 or 600, whatever it is they're looking for, you can have some blemishes, but they have to be explainable. They have to be medical conditions. They have to be something extreme in order for these landlords or these apartment complexes to understand, okay, let me give them a shot. So you have to, this is where you start thinking. Once you get into the apartment, now it's like, what's my next step? That's what you got to say. What is my next step? I got the apartment. Now we're going to start saving. We're going to start putting our money up. Now you don't need to rent for 5, 6, 7 years to know I want to buy a house.
Right.
You don't have to rent that long.
And even with you saying that, right? There's this cliche. It's so cliche. Like maybe it's because I'm in the industry, but I'm just tired of hearing it. But it's definitely facts. 5 years from now, you in that apartment, how much money did you throw away? How much money did you and can we say throw? Should I say throw away? Like, did you throw it away?
Nah, it's not throw away, but eventually it becomes wasteful. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing wrong with renting. There's nothing wrong with starting out renting. Some people do it to establish independence. Some people do it because they have to. But whatever it is, you don't need 5 years to say, I'm going to rent here. I'm going to buy a house, unless you are thinking about relocating to a different state or something like that. But then it's a ball game. I also met a couple, older couple. They were white. They lived in Darien. They lived in a condominium that they rented. They rented the condominium for a long time, but they said, we rented because when we buy, we want to buy a dream home first. We don't want to first time buy a house. We want to buy a dream home first. So there's another side to the whole coin thing here. You know what I'm saying? Some people buy late because they want their dream home. They don't want the first time home. Most people buy because it's like, look, let me establish the first time home buyer. Let me establish buying a house first. So there's different reasons why people rent. Again, there's nothing wrong with renting. All I know is this. If I had a client who rented for 30 years. If you rent for 30 years at $2,000 a month, you have put over $720,000 into that landlord pocket.
That's the point I was trying to make. That's all I was trying to say.
So we have to look at the numbers. Let's stop looking at the words. Let's stop looking at the fear, because the numbers is the one that's going to guide you. And when you learn how to use them numbers, those numbers empower you. You don't want to go buy cars. You don't want high car notes. You don't want to do this. If you go, most people, let me tell you where a lot of us get screwed at. We'll go buy a used car and pay double the interest rate. Car people that finance these used cars, they're going to kill you on that used car. So you might as well go buy a new car and get the decent interest rate with a high payment. You're getting a 2026 or 2027. But do that only after you purchase the house. Only after you are disciplined and in control of your finance and your destination of where you want to go.
Yo, you mentioned about how people get impulsive. I'm gonna take a step back real quick. How people get impulsive and they go online and they enter their info. They're thinking about it. They just want to make a move, and they go online and they enter their information, and then they get bombarded. 15 calls a day and text messages and emails. Trying to pressure you into doing business with somebody you don't know and trust, right? I said all that to say you gotta go check out the GibsonTeamRE.com. It's my it's my new website. Chill, Tim. Let me cook. It's my new website where you can surf safely. Okay, you can surf safely. The only person that is going to see what you're looking at is me. I'm not selling your information to nobody. You don't got to worry about that. But you know what I'm saying? If you see my face, you know it's me. I got to change that picture though. But go to the Gibson Team RE, like real estate. The GibsonTeamRE.com. Create an account and search safely. All right. Shameless plug, Tim. Shameless plug.
I told you was a techie, man. I told you. I told you was a techie. I'm still mad that you got my green shirt on right now.
Nah, yeah, that's something else right there.
Yo, for real. But I tell you, man, great minds think like, we've been on the same page for many years.
I have never in my life wore a green shirt, ever. I've never in my life wore a green shirt. I don't know how this happened to that people.
Hey, yo, I said, man, this guy got the same color shirt on to me. Okay,
Yeah.
great minds think alike.
Yo, that's
But I see
crazy.
what you're saying. You always been that techie dude, super smart, super slick, real good at what you do.
Yo, don't
Hey, yeah,
don't
I'm
do
gonna
me
tell
like that.
people the story how we met, how I was on the phone doing my cold calls. I call him on the phone. I says, I introduced myself. This is what I do. He says, okay, I'm gonna test you. I was like, all right, test. He sent me 3 clients. Their credit score was like 400s. I'm like, okay. He said, yeah. I said, bro, I can't do nothing with them. They 400s. He was like, all right. I was just trying to see if you knew what you was doing. Yo, you dirty dude, dog. Oh
Hey,
man,
look,
you
man.
was too funny for that one, man. Oh,
Eventually we got them done though. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, we
It's
did.
it's it's
But
it's a process.
I like working with my clients and taking them from start to finish. I like building them up because that's where the relationship evolves and that's where everything takes place in the process, in the journey, as you said.
Right.
You don't want instant closing. You don't want instant gratification because you want to definitely stay in touch with your peoples. And you just want to make sure that when they do decide to either buy, sell, or refinance again, that they contact you.
Mm-hmm.
It's super important that in this business, it's about establishing relationships because they'll tell people about you, that person to tell someone about you, and and the people love talking about their experience.
Mm.
And don't let it be a horrible experience. And I'm sure there's a whole lot out there, but if you close that deal, they'll still send people to you, no matter
Yeah.
how rough it was.
Yeah, listen. As much as I love referrals, I
Yeah,
appreciate all my clients that refer me out, man. Like I said, once we get involved, we like family anyway, and
right.
I'm gonna take care of my family for real. So, I definitely appreciate that. But you also mentioned something earlier in terms of no credit score is the same. No, everybody's journey is going to be different, right?
Right.
And it's like even when you get that referral, you hit that home run. You
Right.
close that client, you hit it out the park, and then
Mhm.
they raving about you. They telling everybody, yo, this is what he did. I've I've had some deals, and there's some good deals, man. And the guy's like, yeah, showing everybody the house. Yeah, this what my agent did for me. And they call me, yo, listen, I want what he got. And it's like, yo,
Right.
listen, it don't work
Right.
like that. That's too much pressure. That's way
Right.
too much pressure, man.
Right.
It don't work like that.
Right.
So just be
Yeah.
mindful. Everybody's journey is different, man.
Like they place an order or something
Yeah,
at McDonald's or
exactly.
something. You know what I'm saying? Stop reading the pictures on the menu.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I want that.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? They pointing at the pictures on the menu. You know,
So
and
now you got it. Uh-oh. So yeah, shout out to Tim, man. Tim is he's an OG, man. He been doing this for a while, and like he said, he was one of the first loan officers who reached out to me back when I started, and he definitely played a major role, in my success and even my knowledge, into this business and what I do. But we're gonna shout out to everybody that's watching live. If you got any questions, put your question in the chat, or if you're feeling this content, if you like the content, put some fire emojis in the chat, man, just so I know you're there. Looks like he got disconnected. I gotta get him back on. Yeah, shout out to everybody. Shout out to my boy Anthony Gonzalez. Closed on his house a year ago, almost a year ago. Congratulations are in order. You should be coming up on the anniversary. If it didn't happen already, shout out to Ant. Who else we got? But yeah, so the process, this process is not easy, man. There's a new phrase I'm using called buyer fatigue, man. A lot of buyers are getting fatigued because they're getting out of here and they're realizing that this thing ain't what they thought it was. Um, in terms of the process. and the market being competitive. Where you at, brother? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So let's dive into this, man. What's the first step, Tim? If I made the decision to make the move, what's the first step? What do I do first?
The very first step is to find out how much you qualify for. And during the finding out how much you qualify for, your loan officer will tell you what your monthly payment would be. They will give you an estimate of what your interest rate would be, and they will give you an estimate of how much money you would need to bring to close it. That's the first thing you want to do.
Okay. And what do they need to do to figure that out?
Um, well, it's funny you asked that question because now it's different now than it was a few years ago. Back in the day, a person who decided to buy a house, the first person they would speak to was a realtor. Then the realtor referred them to a lender that they work with. The lender would approve them, let the realtor know, hey, this is what they qualify for or not. Now today, you have access to be qualified online. They can research it. You can Google how to get pre-approved. There's so much information out there that can help a person get pre-approved or even just find out where they stand in the home buying process. Don't always try to aim to hit the ball out of the park. Just enjoy the process and finding out if you don't get approved or pre-approved, what do I need to do to get pre-approved? And go from there. And your loan officer will say, hey, talk to an agent. But we know that most first-time home buyers, when they want to think about purchasing a house, the first person they go speak to is a real estate agent when it should be a loan officer.
I kind of agree with that, but
Kind of agree with that. See, here you go crossing the beams again.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Yeah.
Hey, yo, crossing the beams again.
Here's a good question. Here's a question I get all the time. How much money should I have saved up?
That's a good question. I'm gonna be honest with you. I always tell my clients you should have at least 10,000, at least that.
Mm.
Because normally to your down payment for a house is 35. Well, it depends on what kind of loan you get. If it's an FHA loan, normally it's 3.5%. And I say, how do you equate your down payment of 3.5%? You look at $3,500 for every 300 for every 100,000. So $3,500 for every 100,000. So you know if I'm looking at a house for 400,000, then I need a $14,000 down payment. Now, with that being said, down payment and closing costs are not the same thing. If you're going conventional, you want to look at 5% for every 100,000. That means that it's $500 it's $5,000 for every 100,000. That's how you calculate your down payment. Now, if you're doing research, you go online, you look at houses, you see the price, you see what's in your budget. You take that house, let's say if you see 375,000. Now I know I got 3,500 times 3, which is 10.5, plus another 75,000, which is about another one, 2175, somewhere around that. So I know I'm gonna need at least $12,000 to $13,000 for a house in this price range. That's how you do it. And another thing you can do to find out how much money you need, you can go to the fearlesshomebuyers.com with an S. And on that website, we have a mortgage calculator. And this calculator will show you how much you need down, how much you pay, and it's adjustable. You can go 20% down, 5% down, 3.5% down. Most people are learning that they need 20% down, and that's not true at all. If you put 20% down, great, but you do not have to have 20% down to purchase your first home.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking the whole time. My bad. So yeah, this mortgage calculator is dope. So you got estimated payments. If you're out looking for a home, you're, in the thought process of looking for a home, whatever, man, you need a good mortgage calculator. Get yourself a mortgage calculator, get familiar with it. Because it's going to give you your estimates, your, estimated payments, all of that stuff. And you shouldn't make a decision without knowing those numbers. So it's dope that you got that on your website, Tim. Good shameless plug. You learning, you know what I mean? You learning.
I told you, you're the best. Yeah, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. When it comes to the home buying process, you want numbers. You don't want words. So a person has to be able to explain numbers to you, not words. If they ain't explaining the numbers, they're not educating you. If they're giving you more words than numbers, they're selling you.
For sure. I know we talked about we touched on credit a little bit, but and like I got my claim to fame, or built my business off of educating people for the most part, right? A lot of people would call me for apartments, and here's another thing that most people don't realize: when you deal with a real estate agent, for the most part, on looking for an apartment, the landlord has hired that real estate agent to find the quote unquote best tenants, right? So there's gonna be some stipulations on, some requirements on you, being a renter, meaning your credit score has to be at a certain amount. Your income has to be a certain amount. So a lot of landlords require, a 620, 650 credit score. It depends. A lot of lenders require that you make 1.5 to 2.5 times the rent. You have to make 2.5 times the rent. And what I used to do is, when people call me and ask me for apartments, I will ask them the qualifying questions. Do you know what your credit score is? And they say, yeah, I got a 600 right now. All right. How long you been on your job? Are you working? Yeah, I've been working. I've been at my job for 5 years. Have you ever thought about buying? And they're like, yeah, I thought about it, but I don't have, my credit is not that high, or, I don't have 20% to put down every time without fail.
Yeah.
Those are, were the hesitation. And it's like, what if you don't need those things? And they'd be like, show me. And then I'd be like, yo, you got to talk to my guy, Tim, and then we'll get you pre-approved. And that's how the magic happened for real. But I said that to say, I need you to put the stamp on it right now. Do you need perfect credit to purchase a home? What are the minimum credit requirements?
I mean, you could buy a house with no credit. You know what I
What?
mean?
What does that mean?
You could buy a house with no credit. If you don't have a credit score, you can purchase a house with no credit. FHA guidelines allow you to purchase a house if you don't have no credit score. I tell anybody, there's no better way to build your credit than with a house.
Wow.
People don't even know they can build their credit with a house. And one of the biggest boogeyman myths out there is that you can build your credit with a $300 limit credit card. That's no way. If you got a $300 limit credit card, you're going to max it out every time you use it. You know what I'm saying? For real. And, ask me how I know. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking to you from experience, bro. This ain't, I'm what he said, I'm not only the client, I'm the player president. So it's like, yo, dude, real talk. That don't build your credit. $300 credit cards, you can have 50 million of them. It ain't gonna build your credit because you're gonna use the money up to 300 every time. And we all know, anytime you go over your utilization, it lowers your score. Right. And this is one of the biggest mistakes we make with credit cards, and people don't even notice. And I'm getting ready to give y'all a gem right now. Every time you use your credit card, whether it's for groceries, gas, anything, anytime new debt hits your credit score, hit your credit report, your score lowers. The average person swipes their debit and credit cards in this country at least 30 times a month. That's how often that we swipe our credit card or debit card. It's better to use the debit card than it is the credit card. Now you ain't paying people to spend your money. Right. It doesn't make sense to use a credit card to go into the mall when you know when you leave the mall, you're going to go home and pay the bill with the cash. That's crazy thinking to me. So only time you should use a credit card is during an emergency. That's the only time. So if your credit, if new debt hits your credit report so often, your score is going to stay low. That's why people who have a bunch of credit cards, their credit score only stays in the 600. It never gives up to the 800s because they keep using them and using them and using them. So guess what? When you're using them, you swipe your credit card 4 times. Once you swipe your credit card 4 times, your score is lower 4 times, whether it's a point, 2 points, whatever. All of that stuff adds up. You go to pay the payment, now your score only goes up once. It went down 4 times, but it go up 1 time. So people be saying, I don't know why my score low. I don't know why. Because you keep using your credit card. You shouldn't use your credit card. That's why when I'm working with clients, I tell them straight up, don't use a credit card while we're going through the process. And I'm talking about my clients be kicking and screaming because they are addicted to using those credit cards. And they be like, oh my God. I said, don't use that credit card.
Most
because
people are, man.
it can't mess up. We can't mess up what we're doing. I said it can increase your DTI and it can throw you out of contingency for the loan amount that we already approved you for. This is why they encourage you not to use your credit card, not to use new debt, because it can hurt you. Don't go buy a car while you're going through the home buying process. It can hurt you. Any new bill that hits your credit report during the home buying process has to be included in the debt to income ratio. And a lot of times it knocks the clients out because one, most clients enjoy shopping at the top of their budget.
And especially that the thought process behind, okay, I'm under contract. I'm getting ready to close on this house. There's so much I need to do before I move in. I need new furniture. I need. I think we had one or two of those. It's like, you go to that furniture store. They gonna throw you $10,000, no problem. They're gonna give you a $10,000 line. You cannot get that $10,000 line of credit before you close on that house. You gotta get through the process and take care of it after if you're going.
I know you remember this one. Where the client went and bought a brand new truck for his business.
100%. 100%.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, my man, like,
you can't.
Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying?
I tell people, don't even get no new cell phone.
No.
The iPhone 18 Pro Max just came out. You're gonna wait till after you close.
For real.
Man.
No, it only makes sense to do that. I mean, that's another form of impulsive buying. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta have it. Nah, you don't have to have it. That's because you're releasing that endorphin. You need that chemical brain flow. You don't need a new iPhone you don't need, but now, because people got caught on to a lot of these turn your phone in schemes and all of this, they're offering you $800 for your old phone and blah, 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 blah. Nah. Keep that old phone as long as you can. You ride that phone until the wheels fall off, for real, for real. You ain't got to go get the newest phone. They all work the same. Most people don't even talk on them no more. They use them as typewriters. So, you know what I mean? For real. I just dated myself saying typewriter.
Yo, your one-liners are crazy.
For real talk.
So, all right. So, so you're saying that you could purchase a home with no credit score. You don't need.
They have this thing called FHA. Under the FHA program, they can use alternative credit, rent being one. As long as you pay your rent 12 months on time, you're good. They want three forms of alternative credit. You can use cell phone, car insurance, car payment, rent, any payment you make every month, whether it's a cable bill, gas bill, light bill, as long as you paid those bills on time for 12 months straight, they can use it as alternative credit.
Wow, that's dope. That's dope. I definitely didn't know that one. So, so once the credit's right, they fill out that application. You issue the pre-approval. You get the budget set. What's next?
The next thing you do is the pre-approval letter allows you to go speak with a realtor, any realtor. Most realtors, I don't know too many realtors that'll take a person out looking for a house without that letter. That letter is like your sword. That letter allows you to go to any realtor. It's like you got a check in your hand that says, I can purchase a house for this amount. So once you receive that letter and you then show your realtor that you've been pre-approved, the realtor takes you out around your schedule and use the best times that work for yourself when it comes to looking for a house. As you said, 1 or 2 times a week, but this is an aggressive market, so you may want to go out a little more.
Right.
You may want to try to strategize. Okay, do a study, go to ChatGPT. What days do most people looking for houses don't go out on? It can be a Thursday, it can be a Wednesday, it can be any day. But those are one of the things you want to use as a strategy. Like, okay, let me go try to look for a house on the days where a lot of people is not looking. And right now, in this current market, I know Connecticut is tight right now as far as competition, but there's still more houses available than there are people to buy them. The problem is affordability. People can't afford them because the prices are high. But now let's talk about affordability.
Yes.
What's happening today is the rents are crazy high. I'm talking like mortgage high. So with the rents being so high, now you have people, grown kids with kids, moving back home with their parents.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So that's common right now, where you see people, families moving home with their parents. Okay, I'm moving in with my parents. Now what y'all need to do at that point is start talking about group economics.
Yes. Yep.
We the only ones don't buy together. We got to go, mom, dad, bruh, sis. Let's go get the biggest house together because we need the space. We need to do this, and we all own. Guess what? Y'all buy that house together. Y'all doing this. You can go buy another house as a first-time home buyer as well, on your own, or with a spouse.
I had a young lady. We just closed beginning of the year. First of all, you're 100% right, and I've been saying this for like the last year or so. I'm noticing that a lot of families are starting to move back in together. Multi-generational living, group economics, just like you said, and it makes so much sense. I just closed on a deal at the beginning of the year with a young lady. She wanted a 3-family with enough space for mom, grandma, auntie, cousin, nieces, nephews, right? So we wind up closing on this deal, and the property was up there. It was almost close to $1 million on a multifamily, but it wasn't just the fact that it was $1 million and it was this family compound. The house went in her name specifically, by herself. I don't want to say I set it up, but the house was set up to where she could rent rooms out. It was already permitted as a student rental, rather, near
Nice.
Quinnipiac University.
Nice.
Ran the comps, ran the numbers. Listen, if auntie don't pay her rent, it falls on you, right? So I'm like, listen, everybody got to go on leases. You have to. I know it's family,
Right.
but everybody's got to go on leases. And it's like, if anybody breaks that lease, then unfortunately you're gonna have to evict them. You cannot put this thing in your name and then it doesn't work out, and now you in foreclosure or whatever, right? So I had to put those measures in place for her. And I'm saying that to say a lot of people look at that as a bad thing. Like it's even though we family and even though we gonna come together, at the end of the day, it's the paperwork that really binds us in that situation, right? In terms of, and I'm saying this because a lot of people they're afraid of that. A lot of people are nervous. You hear don't do business with family, right? Is one of the big things. Or and I tell people, like, our generation was built on predominantly of moving out from mom's house, like, you know what I'm saying, moving away from our parents and trying to stand on our own. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Our parents' generation, those were the ones where there was a lot in Big Mama house. Grandma had 10 people in there, and it was like almost like when our generation, we like, yo, nah, we ain't doing that, so we just gonna spread out. But now it's starting to come back together, and I just wish that more people would realize that is more of a benefit. Like, we are definitely stronger together than we are apart, and it's real out here.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is real out
100%.
here.
It's a lot of you see it happen in a lot of different cultures,
Mhm.
but you don't see it a lot in African American
American
cultures
communities,
because
correct.
in the African American community, it's like, no, I'll go do if a person if they have good credit and they qualify and they can't afford, I go, do you have mother, brother, sister, somebody who'll help you? They'd be like, nah, I want to do this by
By
myself.
myself,
I said,
right?
that doesn't make sense. I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. My job here is to coach you to the finish line. If I were you, I would talk to mom, brother, sister, whoever. Even if they tell you no, at least you tried it. If let's guess what, if you can't afford this house by yourself, let's put you into a multifamily. Now, for single women being in the multifamily, it's scary, to collect rent for them. We get that,
Right.
you know. So they don't always have that option. But I always say to them, listen, speak to somebody in your family, speak to your aunt, uncle. You got somebody in there that'll help you. I promise you. I'm not lying to you. I'm not trying to get you to go out there and play yourself. If you talk to somebody about what you're doing and you serious, I promise you somebody's gonna step up and help you. It always happened that way. You've done it a lot of times.
Mm.
And it always happened that way, that where they end up receiving the help that they need. But we have to get out of our own way. Like, I want to do it by myself, and that hurts us so much that, listen, that's some of the reasons why we're still behind economically. And even right now, we're in an economic civil war, whether people want to believe that or not. Look at everything that's going on. Look at the inflation, while a lot of African Americans are losing their jobs for no reason, and everything is still going up. So that's, in my opinion, it looks like it's intentional.
Mm.
You know what I
Now,
mean?
now, word.
So we have to understand that we're in a real economic civil war. So we got to huckle down, as my boy Arnez J say, buckle up, because it's coming. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Buckle up.
and
We only 12 months in. We
yeah,
1 month into the presidency.
mm. And
Or excuse me, about 18 months in, but we're coming into the midterm now where all these elections is taking place. Yo, it's going to get rougher. It's going to
mm.
become very, very hard for people out here. And if you're renting and you lose your job, you can rest assured the chances of you ending up in the streets or ending up at home with your parents is strong. It's pretty huge.
But again, it don't have to be on defense. It don't have to be reactional. It could
Right.
be intentional. It could be all a part of the plan. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
If
absolutely.
if you make it that way, there's a trend going around on social media. I know you've seen it, the family compounds,
Yeah.
looking at Boosie in Louisiana. He got his family
Yeah.
compound and one big house and then, a whole bunch of small houses around for his family members. And a lot of people want that, right? But the
Mhm.
problem is here in Connecticut is we don't have a lot of land like that readily available for everybody to get a family compound. But what we do have is a lot of these multifamily properties,
Mhm.
and um, I think that's a good way to do that, or a good way to start. So, imagine you purchase that house, with your family, like I said, and you lay the rules down. You got to lay the rules down, put it on paper, and this is how it is, right? And 10 years from now, the equity builds, and now you can relocate down south and purchase
Mhm.
that land and build those houses. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you can be intentional about the process, but we definitely stronger together for sure. I'm glad you brought
I'm,
that
I'm
up.
gonna tell you a scary statistic right now, or I don't want to say it's a statistic, but it's some scary information. 60% of Connecticut is still woods.
Mm.
As small as Connecticut is, 60% of it is still woods.
It's still
Only 40% of this is developed.
so yeah. 60% of it is undeveloped, but there's
Yeah.
no resources. And because I was looking into that too, there's no resources, meaning there's no infrastructure, there's no utilities, there's no gas, there's no electric. So,
We got solar now, brother.
all right, good
Nothing
point.
requires all of that, brother. I'm just
Touche.
telling you. All of that stuff is not required to live in a house, to buy a house, because most of these houses are on lakes. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of these lake houses don't have electricity. They don't have toiletry. They have the septics.
Mm-hmm.
They have solar. And it's just like if they was connected to, and some of them even have generators. So you don't have to have that like that. You
Mm.
can buy on the lake. You can buy in the woods. You don't have to have it like that, because the way they got these technology for this waste disposal, to receiving water, all kinds of stuff. It's you just have to be able to get creative with it. You know what I'm saying? How bad do you really want a house? Even if you build a house up on the lake, you don't have to live there 24/7. You know, you can use it to make money while you're somewhere else, but still 60% of Connecticut is underdeveloped. You just
Mm.
got to strategize. It's all connected. It's all about strategy. It's all about figuring it out. How we going to make this do what it's supposed to do? But again, if you got to make 3 times the rent in order to rent, why would you not go buy a house?
No, for real. Yeah, that's a great point. And I was looking into that, and you're right. There is a lot of undeveloped area. But yeah, the infrastructure has always been a hindrance to that. But yeah, nah, the solar
Yeah,
and
but
stuff
there's
like
a
that.
lot of houses. I'm sure you sell a lot of houses that's on septic, that's not connected to city sewer.
No, 100%. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
hundred
yeah.
percent.
So, it's just about, looking into the strategy. Because if you can't find the perfect house, go build it.
Mm. Are there loan programs for first time home buyers for new construction?
Absolutely. FHA is the greatest, what they call, FHA is the greatest, what's the word I'm looking for? God, it's right there at the tip of my tongue. It escapes me right now. FHA is the greatest,
Creation.
no, 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 no. Damn, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Mm.
Anyway,
So,
they're one of the best lender programs out, because they do so much for the people.
mm,
I'm talking like they give you so many benefits. Even with the minimum down payment, low credit scores, you still get a decent interest rate. There's so many benefits to getting an FHA loan.
mm,
Even right now, the conventional rates are way up. FHA rates are up, but they're still lower than conventional. They just have a plethora of benefits.
right, right, man. Well, listen, man. You are a plethora of knowledge. Um, I always enjoy our conversations, and believe it or not, people, we talk like this on the phone all the time, anyway.
Yeah, yeah, we do.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, you full of game, man, and I appreciate that you're not you're not gatekeeping, man. You definitely not afraid to share it for sure.
Well, these banks want us to share it. They want more home buyers. They want to
Mm,
give the money up. You know what I mean? We just think they don't. So most people have it in their mind, I'm not going to qualify. So why should I even try? But
mm,
that's the worst mindset you can have, is not even wanting to try. It's better to try and fail than not to try at all, because at least if you try to fail, now I have a starting point. Now I know what to do, because I tell my loan officers when they go take the test to become a loan officer, I said, look, this test is hard. It's very hard. It's very difficult. When you go in here, don't go in here trying to pass the test. They be nervous. Oh, Tim. Oh, I got it. I said, no, don't go in there trying to pass the test. You've never seen the test like this before. You don't know what's on it. Go in there with the intentions of failing. Now, if you go in there and pass, great. But go in there with the intentions of failing, because at least if you see what's on that test, now you'll know where to start from with your studying. Now you'll know what answers to look for, where to go as far as getting your and how to get the test. So it's the same thing with the home buying process. Go in there, don't look to be approved. Go in there, look to be told where to start from. Because if they deny you, if they say they can't help you, now I need to start from here, because your loan officer will break it down to you. Look, if you paid this off, if you took care of this, and do not, I repeat, do not listen to a loan officer that tells you to go open up more credit cards. Do not
mm.
do that.
Mm. Wow. Bar. Yo, listen. So here's a question that everybody wants to know, Tim. Is now a good time to buy?
Anytime is a good time to buy.
Mm.
Anytime is a good time to buy. Don't worry about the time to buy. If you qualify to buy right now, go buy. Don't worry about this. And I heard a real estate agent says to me, they said this online, date the rate, marry the house. Don't worry about the rate. You pay that mortgage on time with the FHA program, again, super benefit. You can do a streamline, what they call every 6 months. That means you can ask, if you pay your mortgage on time under the FHA program, you can ask them to lower your rate every 6 months through a streamline. No appraisal is needed, no credit pull is needed, none of that.
But does the streamline go by the market rates?
No.
Oh wow.
If you already have the rate and you need it lower, the streamline will lower it. You might not get as big of a lower rate, but you're going to come depending on, again, where the market rates are. But you can always make sure you get it lower from where you started from.
Nice. That's it. All right. And all right, here's one more. Can I buy with student loans? How does it look with somebody buying with student loans now in this market?
You can buy with student loans, but of course, excuse me, but of course, we still have to incorporate that into the DTI. Normally, let's say if your student loan is in deferment or forbearance, we have to still put a payment in there of what they call 0.5%. So if your mortgage, let's say if your student loan debt is $1,000, just throwing a number out there, for example, we have to put a monthly payment in there of $50. So we have to use 0.5% of the loan amount to incorporate that into your DTI. And the reason why we do that is, so let's say when you start paying your student loan, that money is already incorporated in your DTI. So you shouldn't be losing your house because of it. You shouldn't be struggling to pay your student loan because of it, because we have already incorporated it into your debt to income ratio.
Mm. Okay. So everything should already be accounted for.
Correct.
Okay. So what would you say to the buyer that's watching this, that's on the fence, in closing? What would you say to that person, man?
I would say to that person, start now. Find out where you start at. Find out, even if you qualify, find out immediately where you need to start in order to become a successful homeowner. Then what you can do is go take our course online at the Fearless Homebuyer online digital course for first-time homebuyers. It takes you from start to finish. It'll make you almost like a home buying professional, so to speak. And you will get a certificate on me. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, nice. Nice. Go check out the fearlesshomebuyer.com. If you click on courses, you'll see the Fearless Homebuyer online courses there. How long is that course, Tim?
That course is 8 hours and it's
Okay.
in depth. It's
Nice.
very detailed.
Nice. Okay. And
you study at your own pace.
Mhm.
And let's say if you start today, you don't get a chance to finish, you got to come back to it tomorrow. It'll pick up right where you left off.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Go to fearlesshomebuyer.com, thefearlesshomebuyer.com, and get that information. Tell Tim I sent you.
Right. It's the fearlesshomebuyers.com with an S.
With the S. Yep.
The fearlesshomebuyers.com.
Yep. And again, man, if you are thinking about making a move, listen, like he said, don't wait. And like I said earlier, it don't cost we say it all the time, it don't cost to have a conversation. It don't cost to get the information. It shouldn't anyway. Book a call. Either book a call, like I said, if you want to search property safely, you could go to my website, thegibsonteamre.com, and surf safely. Surf safely is what I'm gonna coin that phrase too. But hey Tim, real quick, I got a question. My man Chris, shout out to Chris. Chris said, does a better credit score help your rate?
Absolutely.
Of course.
A better credit score don't help you. It not only helps your rate, but it helps your cost of the loan as well.
Right. Right. Is there a sweet spot with the score?
620 is your sweet spot.
Nice.
Normally.
Nice. Come on, Chris. You got to come outside, Chris. Chris, my boy. Chris, my boy. Shout out to Chris. I see Chris doing some big things too. In the
shout out to Chris.
Yeah. So yo, Tim, man, I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate you hanging out with me. We gotta do this more often, for real. This is our second time doing this though.
Absolutely. You know, we got to do a little more than this. You know, there's so many layers. We even got to talk to the people who's selling their house. You know, we got to teach them that, okay, I'm going to give you this and I'm going to leave you with this one gem. Most people start out with their first time house. Okay, boom. Now, they always, when they get married, things change, dynamics change, whether they're having children, kids move back to the house or whatever. So people start out with their first home and they have a certain payment that they're afraid to go beyond. How we maintain this payment and move into a larger house is when we sell that house, we move the equity from that house into the larger house, keeping the same payment or keeping a very low payment. What we have to do is learn to move the money, and because we see the big check, don't spend it. Move the money into the new house. So if you have $200,000 worth of equity in a $400,000 house and you need a $700,000 house, move that $200,000 there, and you're buying a $500,000 house, and you already got $200,000 of equity that sticks with you for the rest of your life.
Yep, for sure. Move up buyers, man. That's definitely I tell people all the time, if you have $200,000 in equity right now, you buy a house, you transfer that $200,000, you still got $200,000 in equity. You just
it never goes away.
Yeah.
And you living in your dream home.
Right. Right. And a lot of people right now, like we talked about in the beginning, don't even realize how much equity they sitting on. Right now, there's somebody that's sitting in the house that's just not working for them anymore. Like it's too small. We done outgrown it. You might just want to reset, but you're like, okay, well, I got this 4% interest rate. I'm about to go back out there. The interest rate 6%, and the houses are almost double from when I bought mine. And I don't know how I'm gonna do it. And how you do it is you're gonna leverage that equity. You're gonna use that equity and help you get into your next phase, that next step. And how we do that is I call all my clients. I send all my clients for free equity evaluation. If you want an equity evaluation, you can hit me up, or you can go to the GibsonTeamRE.com/sell and fill out the form. And actually, it'll tell you exactly what your home value is right then and there. But if not, it'll definitely send a message to me, and I'll reach out to you, and I'll do an equity evaluation and come up with a game plan for you. But even for those people that want to buy that next house, Tim's going to love this. The first step is still, you got to go talk to that lender. You got to figure out, you got to talk to the lender, because it's a whole nother conversation, but there's a way that this has to get done, or we need to know which way to move or how to move. And the only way we figure that out is by you talking to that lender. All right. So,
well, I also would speak to the real estate agent on that one first. Mm-hmm. Reason being is because they can give you the market analysis of what your house is worth, because you know how much you have left to pay on your house, and then that would tell you how much equity you have to move. Then you talk to the lender.
Then you talk to the lender for sure. They got to come see the lender either way. And you know, the point I was trying to make is, can I buy without selling, or do I have to sell in order to buy? Those are two totally different transactions. And and it's very, very important to find that out before you make a move, and that's where the lender comes in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Chris said, let's go. I'm coming outside. I need to join the Gibson team. Let's go, Chris. Let's go.
Chris, stop playing. Let's go.
Chris, I got you. Yeah. So, Tim, man, I appreciate you for real, big dog.
I appreciate you, brother, for sure. Definitely, man. Definitely. So, thank you for having me.
Nah, for sure. So we'll link up. We're gonna plan the next one. I heard you got some in-person events coming up, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I have man, where do I start? I have one.
Is that bad?
Well, actually, it's funny because I was supposed to have one early June, but because I had shoulder surgery, I had to cancel a couple of them. I had one in New Orleans, one up here in Connecticut, and I have another one. I don't know if it's Georgia. Sorry, that's where it is. The week of the 23rd in Georgia.
Okay.
So,
yeah, my boy International, man. So yeah, just stay in touch, man. Let me know when your events are, man. I'm around for you, and we'll link up. We'll do this thing again, man. So
yeah, definitely. I want you to really try to attend some of my events. As an agent, I really like how you get down. So I really enjoy how you work, man. You're a constant professional, and I am totally impressed by the way you handle your clients and close your deals as well. So
I appreciate it.
I definitely want you to have you speak at some of the events as well.
Appreciate it, man. I learn from the best, man. I keep the best around me, man. I was groomed, I was groomed, man.
All right, brother. You have a good night, man. I appreciate you, yo.
All right, Tim. Later.
All right, brother. Yeah.